Hey guys, welcome back to BT14, where yet again we have another deck profile. This is the vaccine deck from BT14. I played this once and immediately started really liking it. I just being able to control your security and really just kind of like ensure that you can stay in the game however long you want is super nice. And the deck has some really interesting on deletion effects that we don't see in a whole lot of decks. So very excited to have this deck. Definitely a not top meta contender, but this is something you'll see at locals. You'll probably see at regionals. So this is a good deck to know, be aware of, and kind of know how it plays and what tech options the deck has in its toolbox, so that when you do face it, you're somewhat prepared for it. Starting off with the eggs, I play 4 of the BT9 Tokomon. When a card is added to your security, it gets minus 1,000. With some of the other things in the deck, this is actually pretty gnarly to have on, especially if you can have 2, even 3 of these on board, plus a full stack. Again, something we'll get into later in the deck, but there's also the BT14, I forget the name of it, but that where you add something to your security, you draw 1. Both are pretty good. I prefer this for the DP reduction, and again, you'll kind of see some smaller synergies it has later on. All right, for the tamers, we have 4 of the BT14 TK, 2 of the BT8 Kari, and 2 of the BT1 TK. The Emissary of Hope option specifies just TK to Kaishi, so you have 6 options for that. So if you use it, you can recovery 1. Kari is just a memory tamer, and then when you add to security on your turn, you can suspend to get 1. And then of course the TK here is kind of mandatory for the deck. I feel like this is a pretty solid lineup. If anything, you can mess around with the number of the BT1 TKs. You know, you can kind of interchange these as much or as little as you want. But the BT14 TK is pretty undeniable, at least in my opinion. For the options, we've got 4 Emissary of Hope, 1 Reinforcing Memory Boost, and 2 Wyvern's Breath. The Wyvern's Breath and the Reinforcing, you really can kind of switch around with that whatever you want. I think it's Agility Training is the yellow card. You can kind of use those. Emissary of Hope is amazing here. The 1 cost Digivolve and then recovery plus 1 if you have a TK is nice. And with this, with the TKs, you will also be able to trigger the Tokomon X Antibody Egg for minus 1,000. So just kind of some nice synergies here. And then Wyvern's Breath is really just for removal. Reinforcing Memory Boost, really adding stuff to security, or bare minimum, it's in security and you just get a plus 3 DP next turn. Going into the Digimon here for the rookies, we have 4 of the BT13 Kudomon. Searches a vaccine and gets you a yellow tamer. Pretty nice to on play. The inherited effect isn't the worst, so all around a pretty good Digimon here. We've got 2 of the BT4 Lucamon here. This is a level 3 you can play off of the Angelwomon later in the deck, but also the on play for recovery 1 will synergize with other cards in the deck pretty well. And then, you know, if it's in security, 10k in security isn't too bad. So a tech card that I feel like is pretty necessary in the deck, but for budget versions you can well, I guess if it's in the reprint set, you can get this pretty inexpensive, but this is just me thinking out loud, so feel free to ignore me. Moving on, of course, we got 4 of the BT14 Patamon. Patamon is my favorite Digimon. I love Patamon. It is just hands down my favorite. I think it's the cutest. Yeah, I love Patamon very much. I'm so happy to have a deck that utilizes Patamon so well, and you can't build vaccine without 4 of these guys. So it makes me very happy to have a deck that plays this, and it makes me very happy that Patamon is so useful to the deck. So 4 Patamon, because it's good for the deck, but honestly, mostly because I just love Patamon. Then rounding this off, we've got 3 of the BT9 Pillowmon. There's some other like Floodgate rookies you can play here. If you want to, you can also increase the number of Lucamons you play for some of these. I've considered running like 2 Lucamon Chaos mode and 1 of these as a Floodgate rookie here. But this is kind of a flex slot here that you can mix and match however you desire. I'm playing these because I have run into in testing a lot of decks that can play via effect, and especially going into an EX5 format with Anubismon, having this is not a bad option. Going into the champions, we have 2 BT8 Angemon. Of course, we have the 4 BT14 Angemon, and we have 1 BT12 Greymon. We can move these down a little bit. Okay, immediately all messed up. That's cool. The 4 Angemon here, again, it's necessary. The Geo Greymon being able to grab a yellow tamer from security is nice. It's also a vaccine, so it synergizes with the deck. Angemon here, I originally played this in an upgraded version of Hexablaumon. This plus the Shakalmon from the same set are pretty good for security shenanigans. But in here, it's really just kind of a nice little like toolbox option for if you are getting low on security. Again, it's also a vaccine, so it synergizes with the rest of the deck. And usually you won't be able to use the inherited of it, but just kind of a nice little tool to use if you are running low on security. For the ultimates, 2 BT3 Angelwomon, 2 of the BT1 Magna Angemon, and of course we have 4 of the BT14 Magna Angemon Ace. Magna Angemon Ace is incredible here. On your opponents, the free Digivolve for the recovery is nice, and then it's just a good Digimon to have, especially again if you have that stack. You get the Tokamon minus 1000, which 1k isn't a whole lot, but usually you'll have other things on board, so this is just a super nice one. The Magna Anja here, with the proper setup, you can play this and really not suffer any memory loss here. The inherited is hilarious. I've gotten up to like 10, 11 security, gotten plus 3k with the inherited, and then that kind of makes a big difference when you're swinging with the Seraphimon. Angelwomon here, the security attack is pretty good. There have been a couple times where it's come up. The inherited is also super nice. Again, that can play out any level 3 from hand. I really like this lineup, and you really can play around with the Angelwomons and the Magna Angemons as much or as little as you'd like. The Magna Angemon Ace are pretty solid. I would not touch the ratio of these. Getting into the megas, we have the 4 Seraphimon, 2 Shadow Seraphimon, and the 1 Shine Greymon Ruin mode. I was pretty lucky in getting these alt arts out of EX4. So I am, of course, flexing those. I just got some boxes, randomly pulled them. And then, again, the Seraphimon Digivolve recovery, then its effect to minus 7,000, plus the Tokamon, so that's minus 8,000 there. Just this whole package works so well together. Obviously, Shine Greymon Ruin mode is a little pricey, even as a regular art, so this is very much optional. Otherwise, this Shadow Seraphi effect to de-digivolve when something's removed from your security, not a once per turn. So if your opponent swings multiple times, you can kind of cut down whatever stack they've built up. And with Ace Digimon being, starting to be more prevalent now that they're released, essentially, the effect can actually be pretty devastating to your opponent with the right setup. And with this deck, it's actually pretty easy to get that right setup. Shine Greymon Ruin mode in all my testing has been a win more card. At no point in testing has this been like necessary for me. It's really just been how much do I kind of want to dunk on my opponent. Normally I won't do that. I'll just try to go for the win. But having it as an option, especially because it is a vaccine, Shadow Seraphi is a virus, so it doesn't synergize the greatest with everything. This is a vaccine, and the one time I did use it, I Emissary of Hoped into it, and it was just wildly funny for no reason. But this is definitely very much a flex slot in the deck, so you can kind of turn this into anything you need. And this is my vaccine deck profile. There's a couple of flex slots here. Definitely the Ruin mode, the BT8 Angemons, Wyvern's Breath, stuff like that. So you can really play around with this. You can turn it more security control if you want. You can find other tech options to kind of make it a little more aggressive. You can really play around with the deck, which is nice. I really like this build and the ratios in it. So let me know if you have any comments on the deck, if you have any tech options you think are super awesome for it, or if you just hate playing against it and are miserable. Let me know so I won't play it against you potentially. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.